Hey guys, I'm your host Smitha and welcome to Journey Podcast, your weekly podcast on transformational journeys. Hello everybody, I have Antonio Myers with me. He says his autism is a super blessing. Antonio is a high school valedictorian, college graduate, world traveler, disability advocate. He is an Unitarian Universalist and a progressive liberal. He is about equal rights, human rights, civil and political rights, and economic, social, cultural rights. He also do a servant leadership, boundless optimism, and oneness or wholeness. Thank you for being on the show. Welcome to the show, Antonio.
Thank you, Smitha. I appreciate this golden opportunity of positive enrichment. So thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you. Please tell us your story, your journey, and what you are doing today. Why do you want to talk about your story to others? Please.
Well, I'll answer this briefly, then I'll get to the hard hitting matter. Um, I believe that sharing stories creates a global community of positive possibilities as well as positive opportunities because when you make it clear that you're with somebody that can help somebody to feel that healing can be real for them. And so I believe in helping people start their healing process because people help me to have start my own. Now I'm gonna take my time with this. Um, I was 5 when my life was negatively changed forever. Uh,
Sorry about that.
yeah, solo raped and gang raped. Um, when um, bear with me, I'm in the moment. My mom and dad were on the job, and a male um, so-called relative uh, has initiated uh, evil spirits in adult female bodies to torture me. Um, Domestic violence, uh, all kinds of sex crimes against me, adult entertainment. At that, a lot of pretty much what you see on trash TV. Imagine it happening to you in person. Yeah, I don't mean to make a pejorative term about tabloid talk shows. That's a term that some people call it, but a lot of shouting and uh, cussing out, all drama. Yeah, that's a summary of it.
I'm so sorry to hear that. You mentioned you were 5 year old when everything happened. Is this like a series of events or is this like a one time thing?
Series,
So how long were you there in that? How long were you living in that?
2 years.
Have you ever spoke about this to your parents?
July 2014, I did.
So you were just bearing everything by yourself for all the years.
Trained trauma response. Not my fault against my will. Woo! Yeah.
Are you okay?
Uh,
I can't
I'm,
say you are okay, but yeah, will you be able to continue talking?
yes, yes. I'm just at a point where I can feel all the sadness now. because back then I was taught to numb all of the actual hurt. It's a typical, does I don't mean to say typical like nonchalant, but from what I learned in therapy, it's very normal for abusers to have, to teach you to do the happy, happy, joy, joy all the time so they can feel comfortable doing the unfathomable to people like us. You and I mean to say.
I know what you're saying. I can relate to whatever you spoke just now.
Yeah,
Yep. Sometimes it's really hard for us to say those words or even to relive those things when we are explaining. Sometimes we don't feel anything, as you just mentioned, like, yes, we just go numb. We don't feel
yeah,
anything.
yeah. And felt like a failure for many years, even though I was outwardly successful and innerly successful because of who I am and what you've known about me in our talks offline. But for the first time in my life this week, I feel like a success story. And I'm 27.
You are going to be a success story from now on. Don't ever think you're a failure. See, for us, coming out and even to own our story is the biggest thing. You are owning your story. More than that, you are actually like speaking about it to give the hope for other
Yeah.
people. That itself is like a biggest success.
Thank you, Smitha. I have no words to express that sense of, yeah, just thank you. That's all I can say.
Anytime I told you, like I gave you my number, anytime you wanted to talk to, just give me a call. I'll always be there to talk to you.
I will definitely take you up on your offer because even if even when PTSD doesn't act up, you'll still hear from me because I don't want to make it a whole. I always tell you sob stories. I want you to hear my genuine excitement too.
It's not about stop story. Even I know how you are feeling about it. Even when I wanted to open up my mouth, if I wanted to connect with somebody, that thing in our mind is like, okay, we are always crying. We have this sub story. We are never successful. All these things will keep on hit us. But trust me, we are the strongest people. We are the strongest people that we are able to survive all these things through the years. We are
Yeah.
able to stand up for ourselves. Today, we are here sharing our stories on different platforms to help others. So, yes, you don't have to feel that you are telling me a sob story. Trust me, so far that I spoke to you for all these things, even offline conversation, I never felt that you are giving me a sub story. I saw a person with a tremendous strength, with that incredible, funny personality, happy face. So don't ever think that you are less than anybody.
Thank you for helping me not be hard on myself because it's difficult not to because of what happened. And I'm just glad that it's much easier than before. Thank you.
It will be easier every single day. Keep going in the same way. You don't have to worry about anybody, anything.
Eh, I appreciate you.
So
And
tell us about your education. Like you are a valedictorian student. How did you do that?
well, I still speak in my grandma's present tense because that was the biggest relationship that helped me survive everything I just said. And she helped me even though I never told her. Conversations with her, school and her home was heaven on earth to me. Everywhere else is pretty much hell. I have people who become like family and people like yourself who don't quit on me. That's exactly why I never quit on me. I had a community that said keep going in the right direction. We're gonna you know go with you continuously in this direction. and I had this natural fortitude. Some things about the beauty of my life are unexplainable. I can say is nature had a lot to do with it, community, people encouraging my gifts. I pretty much knew a lot of my gifts by the time I was 10, my first decade of life. And I had more people over the years just working with me on life skills that were already in me. They helped harness it because it's much easier for them to do it because I kept harnessing it in myself first.
Hmm.
So that I hope that answers your question.
Hmm. Hmm. So you were very good with education and you had a very beautiful relationship with your grandmom.
Yes.
Can you tell us like the happiest moments that you had with your grandma?
She taught me how to treat women
Mm-hmm.
during a time where when I was away from her, women were not treated well at all. So her teaching me that was it felt like an indescribable lifesaver. She would cook for me. You know, it's I've had to be morally successful without her physical presence, and that's another grieving process that I go through. Um, yeah, I just danced with her, even though she didn't have the best ankle condition. So that was fun. Yeah,
Learn
um,
cooking from her?
huh?
Did you learn any cooking from her?
Yeah, yeah. I can make steaks, so
Oh, wow. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. And her. I can't use any language about her is that talks about death. I like deceased. I just can't use that because there's this closeness. She's like a mom to me. We established that before she transitioned when I was 7. She transitioned around the same time the abuse was about to physically end. So her first, and I hate saying this, but so people understand, first funeral was the first one I ever attended. So
Yeah.
yeah, but happy moments because I want to really have more happy moments to share. Um, Laughter,
Hmm.
smiling, swapping stories about life and how to live it, how not to live it, and help. She helped me with learning what the Christian faith is, even though because I recently have to confess, I recently left the Christian church because of how survivors are treated. That was the biggest reason. There's so many other reasons, but that's number one. And I decided to be Christ like without Christianity, basically ethical or moral, but you don't need a system of piety to be that. I discovered that when I was younger, meeting agnostics and atheists, and they were lovely people. So I've always felt that way since then. But yeah, a lot of happy memories. Lastly, now then you can ask another question. A lot of goofiness, to sum it up. A lot of playfulness. A lot of friendly, witty banter. Her sarcasm was funny, and I just knew she was no nonsense. She didn't have to tell me. People, when you get a vibe from them, there's certain things you don't need to explain.
So what is the biggest life lesson that you have learned from her, apart from she teaching you how to treat women right? Is there any biggest life lesson that you have learned?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I learned protect women with them. Notice I said protect women with them because a lot of people think women are helpless. No, protect them with them. They shouldn't have to protect themselves by themselves. And no objectification,
Hmm.
right? So she said it without saying it. She had to be age appropriate. But when I think back to what I've know now as an adult. I said, oh, she meant that. She just put it in kid language. So yeah, no objection and mutual protection.
So is that where your introduction, where you gave me about oneness, equality, all these things came from? Is that the roots?
Yes, and thank you for having the brilliance to pull that. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Of course. I mean, when I hear your introduction, sorry, when I was saying your introduction, I'd heard that you work or like you are all about equal rights, human rights, and all these things, and also like boundless optimism. I can definitely see that with you, and oneness or wholeness. When
Uh
you're
huh.
thinking about your grandma, I can see that happiness in your face, and I can relate to where you are coming from for all these things.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes,
Yes,
absolutely beautiful. So tell us more about like what is this about like oneness or wholeness that you are talking about?
it's like if I see that you have the right to joy, then I will respect your right to joy, which means I have to treat you with joyfulness because if I sense it in myself and then I have to sense it in you, one, you will get the best treatment out of me. And the flip side is also true. You won't get the worst treatment from me either. So
Mm,
if I see you have a family, you have friends, you have the right to get paid for legal work, you have the right to get awesome pay for your work. However you define it, that's your prerogative. And you have the right to your relationships, your dreams, your purpose. I sense it in me and I sense them in you. That means that I am obligated for all the morally right reasons to honor your triggers and sensibilities and sensitivities. And I have to honor them in me too. And you have to honor them in me too and see the same things in me too. So we're not much different. People say difference a lot. We don't have much of them. We get hungry, we eat, we get thirsty, we drink, we get tired, we go to sleep. I I don't know why we obsess with our differences in our society because there's way more similarities than anything else.
I believe you also do a podcast, right? You're hosting a podcast yourself.
Yes, I do.
So, yes, tell about what your podcast is about.
I talk about each and every subject. I talk about human rights and being whole and sensitive subjects and experiences from my life, other people's stories and articles I find, credible information. Yeah, it's for adults because it tends to touch on things that people say, shh, yeah. And I can't always keep my language clean because I've been through too much pure hell. That's the truth. I can't. It's not realistic. And in therapy, I learned the appropriate times for swearing. So, yep.
So, in your podcast, when you mentioned that you are covering all sort of topics, what is the closest to topics that you feel to yourself?
You meaning that the topics I tend to do the most?
No, the closest topic when you're discussing with somebody, what is that touches you really and feel like, yes, I need to talk about this more, or like I wanted to learn about this more? What kind of a topic that touches you a lot?
The issues of dehumanization and religion.
Mm,
Yeah, those are the biggest experiences I've ever had in life. And no, it's obvious I'm not a religious bigot, but for audience sake, I'm not. It's just that I didn't have the best experience with it because there were a lot. I found out a lot of disturbing things that weren't dealt with by many in church, and no church person ever told me the trauma issues. So that did a number on the faith I had at the time.
mm,
So when you're a survivor, you usually don't have the best experiences with religion based on research and talking to other survivors.
true,
I It was painful homework I had to do.
true, Even I'll be honest, I don't go to church, but the trust and faith I have on God is the church. These places are like the people that are showing up there may not be always helpful, but at the same time, like I mean, if we are not interested to be there, we are not interested. It's that simple.
Yeah, to clarify something, I have my views fluctuate on God every day
Mm.
because that's what happens when you have post traumatic stress. There's a roller coaster fluctuation. You don't know where it's gonna be that day. I I try my best to hope in God. At the same time, sometimes I love God. Sometimes I get so fed up with post traumatic stress. I go, I'd rather not with you. And other times I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know. It's not. Yeah, yeah. You
Not the same
understand?
all the time. I
Hmm.
get it. I get it.
Thank you.
Mm. Apart from your religious beliefs, you mentioned that you are more believer in humanity.
Yeah, because it's easier for me not to doubt that.
What does that mean to you? Like, what do you do for it, and what does that mean to you?
Because I've witnessed kindness and embodied kindness in so many scenarios, I just think, well, I know that being um, a good spirit, I never doubt that. I never question that. I have no skepticism of that. I know for certain always that's how you're supposed to live. So I'm like, you know what? That helps me to. That's one of the big ways that I stay in the solid ground of being humane.
Mm.
At least I have things I can never doubt, which I'm grateful for. And humanity and being humane to humanity is one of them.
Got you. Got you. Apart from your grandma, is there anybody that is supporting you throughout this journey? Do you feel any connection with anybody?
My people have become like my family recently over Audrey.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yes, one lady, um, and then I have a best friend from college
Hmm.
who's like a sister to me, and many others.
Awesome. Awesome. What kind of
And
support that you have?
hmm,
Sorry, go ahead. You were about to say something.
and I can honestly say that you're one of them. I didn't want to leave you hanging, so I give you
Thank
your
you.
kudos.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
What kind of a support that you have, or like do you expect from these people?
Just complete honesty about my moods, because I laugh a lot because I'm honest. I can say I feel depressed, and the more we talk, the depression for that moment just naturally just
Mm.
scales down, and all of a sudden this inner child just, and I get bubbly and jokey.
Mm.
Because I'm honest, when you're true to your mood, the emotions you really want to feel will come. When you force it, they won't come.
So, whenever these kind of things trigger to you, what is the practice that you have with you to come out of them?
I dance, I listen to music, I write. I
Hmm.
actually write letters to my grandma to help me cope. And more importantly, manage. I manage more than cope. And the difference between managing and coping is more of trying to survive. I'm past survival. I'm like, no, I'm thriving.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's in writing letters to those who have gone on is a helpful activity for grief and healing. I did my research. I was like, you know what? I need that. So I've been doing that since January. And another thing I do is I watch comedies, movies, documentaries, things that positively stimulate my mind, positive consumption. I recently stay away from a lot of the news and
Hmm.
clicks and sound bites and the infighting you see in a lot of media platforms. That triggers me. So I said, nope, not going to do that. So I stay away from it. Lastly, I think about my dreams, my career aspirations. I'm like, no, I have a future and that will not be thwarted.
Now that you talk about career aspirations, what is that?
Uh, to keep doing more like this, to keep having good opportunities for myself. Like, I want to be a social entrepreneur, a person who uses entrepreneurship to help resolve humanity's issues. And I want to keep being of service to people in every way that I should, for abused people like us the most and those on the bottom. Um, I want to write about, my deepest thoughts and publish them, and hopefully I can run a company one day that caters to helping people through resolving like social issues, those kind of matters. And I just want to be me in every way that any healthy avenue takes me.
Hmm. Hmm. That's lovely. That's lovely.
Thank you.
So, what is the reason that you started your podcast?
Lots of encouragement, and as you can tell, how I'm speaking, me speaking so articulately, and me speaking with a lot of wisdom. A lot of people picked up on it. I picked up on it after my own self reflection. And at first, I was scared to do it. I was scared to do it because it's like, but I'm
I am
gonna.
too. I am too.
Okay, thank you.
Super scared.
Thank you. I was like, let's see, I'm black. Who wants to listen to a black person? I'm just keeping it real here.
Yeah,
Insecurity.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
uh,
I know what you're saying. Keep going.
I'm like, I'm autistic. I'm not neurotypical. Who wants to hear from a person in special education? And I was tortured as a kid. Who would be blessed by that? Shouldn't I just be quiet? And then my friends, especially one of my barber, he's like, you gotta do it. Other people need you. They need to be blessed by you. Do it, man. Do it. Do it. For like 4 weeks straight, he kept lovingly threatening me. And then I did it. And I'm glad I've been glad about it ever since.
Absolutely, absolutely. Do you have your parents in your life still?
Yeah, yeah. Now I'm working on moving out of their home as we're speaking. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I'm in their home right now, but we're trying to get me housing programs and jobs. So it's about that time.
Okay, okay. So, what is that you wanted to do by telling your story to other people?
I do more than talk because I like to do like partner up organizations that think just like me on these things. Because
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to just talk. I like to be active, get my hands
Hmm.
involved. Because I want to do this long term. I'm not just one of those say some things and then go. No, I'm like say some things. We network. We do stuff together. Even if we don't get all the results we want, we don't let up. That's how my mind works. I come from a family that thinks that way, and I think that way too.
So, if somebody asks you, like, or like, give you 2 minutes and ask you, what is your message that you wanted to pass on? So, what could be your message?
That you can have a soul family even if your family failed you. There are,
So,
yeah, and that there are people out there that are more than just positive replacements. But more importantly, you will never have to ask them nor demand them to play the healthy roles in your life that they're supposed to play.
Hmm. Hmm. So if I can interpret that in a bit, you are mentioning that there shouldn't be expectations too much.
Right, like you and I are friends. I don't have to ask you to please be a healthy friend to me, Smitha. Do
Absolutely.
it now. You know, you already have that mindset. That's what I was trying
Absolutely.
to tell the audience.
Thank you.
That yeah,
So yeah, without expectations, just be a good friend or like yeah, be with the other person so that we can share the same journey. And
yeah,
yep.
yeah. You simplified it quite well.
Absolutely. Because I feel the same way. So too much expecting from the other person, you never know what their mindset or mood or like where they are in their life.
Right.
Instead, yes, don't have that expectations, be there with them,
Yes.
present, and then yes, go with it.
Yeah. And then I want to share my whole story because there's so many people that need to hear this. I was considered a lifeless vegetable by the DC public school systems because I didn't talk when they said I should talk. They said, thank you. I could tell by your face, thank you. That they were like, well, he's not talking to strangers, but my parents said don't do it. So you're harshly criticizing me because I'm being the good, compliant toddler I am to my mom and dad. Really? And then they had this sense of pervasive developmental disorder that was considered autism back then.
Hmm.
I was two, right. And then at four, they're like, "Well, you're still not moving those lips." And I mean to be funny, but it's just really ridiculous. Well, you're still not talking, so um, yeah, there's no hope for you. So I had to deal with that, and my parents and educational experts sued the ignorant experts, and they had to pay for my private education, special education, until my high school valedictorian day.
Wow, 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 wow. You should have taken that valedictorian certificate or like your graduation thing and then go back to these experts and tell them like, am I really this?
And so many people have told me that, so that's a good sign.
Absolutely right. See, I mean, the people who gave you that label should understand that's not true.
Right. Yes, because who's the arbiter of, okay, you're functioning when I tell you to function? You've never heard of diversity? That's what I'm saying. You've never heard of people have different ways of doing things at their own time when they are ready. How dare you consider me a deficiency, whatever that means for them?
Maybe they are deficient of something.
You know what? Let's go with that. Thank you. Let's go with that. This is the part where I have to share my accomplishments. Let's see. We already covered college graduate, high school valedictorian, disability services designated provider in DC, two-time commencement speaker, ages 14 and 23. I could type 50 words per minute in middle school. As a seventh grader, I could read at a 12th grade reading level, and they gave me all these kinds of labels like math and speech, but I was the highest performing math student in all my classes. I got an English award, a chemistry award, even though science was pretty rough. I was able to be the best at it. Let's see. First in my family to graduate 3.5 years in school. I went to Italy, Croatia, Slovenia, London, England. Um, hmm. Let's see. I was the peacemaker in my school, so even the adults would get me to calm things down with the other kids. Seventh grade secretary, eighth grade president, uh, cashier at my middle school, selling root beer floats in sixth grade, and in the sixth grade I won my cursive crown award for cursive because I saw another classmate get it, and I said, "Count me in." I won it and got it on my very first try, and I won an oratorical contest.
What is that you are not? And
Thank you.
I don't understand why you are labeled that you are different. Maybe you are different after all with all these achievements.
Oh, so you're saying difference is a plus and not a minus?
Yes, of course, right? Okay, thank you for tuning in, and you can find me on all the socials at Smitha Gunturi and the show notes for any resources mentioned. See you next week. Take care.